From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm David Byrd reporting terrorist attacks have left dozens dead in Tunisia and in Kuwait. Tunisian officials say one attack near a hotel on the Mediterranean coast left at least 37 people killed. As Edward Yeranian reports from Cairo, several European tourists are among those killed.
Gunmen opened fire with automatic weapons on foreign tourists relaxing at the beach at two hotels in the Tunisian resort town of Sousse Friday. It was not immediately clear how many attackers were involved. Amateur video showed bodies sprawled on the beach in front of one luxury hotel and what appeared to be a dead gunman outside the facility. The hotels are popular with European tourists. Edward Yeranian for VOA News, Cairo.
Meanwhile, the Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for a suicide bombing at a Shiite mosque in Kuwait City that killed at least 25 people. An IS-affiliated group known as Najd Province said it carried out the attack at the Imam Sadiq Mosque. The bomber detonated his explosives while the mosque was packed with worshippers attending Friday prayers. The Najd Province group said it had carried out similar deadly attacks at two Shiite mosques in Saudi Arabia in recent weeks. The Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab killed at least 50 African Union soldiers and seized control of their military base in southern Somalia early Friday. Witnesses say attackers rammed a car filled with explosives into the main gate of the base in the town of Ligo at dawn, then opened fire on Burundian soldiers manning the base. A spokesman for Al-Shabaab said 50 soldiers were killed. Somali officials say the death toll was as high as 70. This is VOA News. French authorities appear to have identified a leading suspect in a brutal terror attack on an American company's gas factory in southeastern France. At least one person was killed and two injured, Lisa Bryant reports from Paris.
Interior Minister Bernard Cazeneuve said authorities have a preliminary identification of the suspect, Yassine Salhi. One or possibly two suspects entered the plant owned by U.S.-based company Air Products and Chemicals Friday morning and set off the explosions. They evidently beheaded a man just before they burst inside and displayed his severed head at the factory gate with Arabic inscriptions attached. From Brussels, where he was at an EU summit, French President François Hollande said action, prevention, and dissuasion must be the answer. France, he said, must hold on to its values and not yield to fear. Lisa Bryant for VOA News, Paris.
U.S. President Barack Obama has hailed the Supreme Court ruling Friday that same-sex couples have the right to marry anywhere in the United States. At the White House, Mr. Obama said that the ruling is a victory for all Americans.
There's so much more work to be done to extend the full promise of America to every American. But today we can say, in no uncertain terms, that we've made our union a little more perfect.
The court ruled 5-4 that the U.S. Constitution's guarantees of due process and equal protection for all overrule any state's attempt to outlaw same-sex marriage. The ruling is the Supreme Court's most important expansion of marriage rights in the United States since 1967, when it struck down state laws barring interracial marriage. Later Friday, President Obama eulogized former South Carolina State Senator and AME Church pastor Clementa Pinckney as a gracious man who was wise beyond his years. Speaking at Pinckney's funeral in Charleston, South Carolina, Mr. Obama called the slain minister a man of God who lived by his faith.
Reverend Pinckney embodied a politics that was neither mean nor small. He conducted himself quietly and kindly and diligently.
Pinckney was one of 9 black people killed by a white gunman last week in Charleston. Thousands of people gathered at a Charleston sports arena for Friday's funeral. A prisoner who escaped from a New York State prison has been shot and killed by police. Media reports say that Richard Matt, a convicted murderer, was killed by law enforcement officers Friday. His fellow escapee, David Sweat, is still being pursued in upstate New York. For more, visit our website, voanews.com. I'm David Byrd in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.